This is Hip Hop Movie Club, the show for serious hip hop fans who want to deepen their cultural knowledge. We've watched over 75 hip hop themed films, and in this episode, we will be discussing the 2010 ESPN 30 for 30 documentary, Straight Outta L.A., directed by Ice Cube, which explores a tight bond between the NFL's Raiders and gangster rap. I'm Dino Wright, filmmaker, designer, longtime hip hop fan, and I'm passing the mic to JB.
I'm JB, 80s and 90s nostalgia junkie, longtime hip hop fan. And once again, back is the incredible Boogie.
Yeah. What's up? I'm Boogie and I'm a DJ and a longtime hip hop fan. Welcome.
Let's dig into this documentary, Straight Outta L.A., which again talks about the marriage between gangster rap, more specifically N.W.A. and all the acts they spawned, and the Raiders of the NFL. I mean, just two behemoth institutions, and they're tied at the hip for many reasons. So, I enjoyed this one. How they became intertwined is interesting, and it's just iconic symbolism there between the silver and black and the gangster rap who adopted these logos and their colors.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when this trend right here, it hit like a bomb. I mean, you got N.W.A. in your face, like gritty, raw, uncut. And then that Raiders logo, man, it's such an iconic logo. You got the pirate. Man, everybody was wearing it. Everybody. It was crazy.
Yeah.
I wasn't because I'm an Eagles fan still, but I get it. I totally get it.
The sad part is when Ice Cube said that's when he became a full-fledged fan, is when they beat the Eagles in that Super Bowl 80 season, occurred 81. Yeah. Jim Plunkett at the helm of the Raiders versus Ron Jaworski. Yeah.
That was Oakland.
It was Oakland. Yep.
But in 82, they moved to L.A., and that really started to pop it off.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. And they ended up winning the Super Bowl in 83, once again, with Marcus Allen. They showed his nifty moves. You know, Marcus Allen is an L.A. icon. He went to USC, and that move to L.A. was just perfect for him. He just thrived in that environment. Although, as you saw later on, the venerable Al Davis ended up benching him due to some personal disputes that were a little bit undetermined as to the real meaning behind it.
They definitely tiptoe around it. They don't really come out and say it.
Yeah, they definitely do.
In the documentary, they don't really address it. They mention it. They don't explain what really happened. We probably will never know.
Yeah. I mean, this is a perfect marriage between the Raiders and gangster rap, because as they say in the documentary, like, the Raiders changed the rules of the game, and so did we. That was a quote from Ice Cube. And the Raiders are that renegade franchise. They play by their own rules. They played a little bit dirty. They were loud and brash. And even their fan base became the almost gangsters, thugs. And unfortunately, there was a lot of incidents over the years with violence. They're talking about in their tailgates, they play tackle football on the concrete and the blacktop. And it's just like,
yeah, man,
wild. Yeah.
Quite a persona.
Yeah.
The team and the fans adopt.
Yeah, that's a straight hood thing, because we definitely played tackle football on the concrete when I was a kid. I mean, we played it at lunchtime in the middle of the street. And yeah, it was bad. Yeah. That's a hood thing right there. It's like, get it in. Get it in. No equipment, no pads, just straight raw. Damn.
It was funny. This wasn't documented in this documentary, but I remember reading an article in Sports Illustrated about some of the people that would dress up with the face paint and silver and black and the big spikes and everything. Some of those were like really high class professionals, like doctors and lawyers. Like they would take on that persona, just like a KISS concert or something. But that was their weekend gig.
Weekend warriors.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally.
They looked like the Road Warriors from WWF and stuff.
Yeah.
Early 80s, LA was popping in the sports world. They mentioned you had the 84 Olympics, the Showtime Lakers with Magic and Kareem.
Yeah.
You had Fernando Valenzuela burst on the scene in the early 80s, the Mexican superstar pitcher. And again, but the Raiders moving over there, that was just the place to be. And that was actually perfect timing when Cube, Dre, Eazy-E, Ren, Yella, they were just forming and meeting each other and starting to produce music.
There's a few years until Straight Outta Compton, but that was perfect timing for the Raiders to move there as they were coalescing.
Right. I just love all these 30 for 30s myself. Like, I could just I pop them like M&M's. I just love these things. I watched a whole bunch of them. There's a good one out there called Broke, and it's about all these athletes that literally go stone cold broke, and it's sad to see. You've seen that one? Yeah. For any number of reasons. And there's one called I Hate Christian Laettner. That's literally the title. I Hate Christian Laettner because he was kind of a bully and he's got that pretty boy persona, and Duke is a very polarizing team. That's a really good one. So I'd recommend that also, but not to get too far off the subject. This was really well done. You had Ice Cube directing it. And the fact that they had Al Davis in multiple interviews, and I was just looking at the timing of this. Unfortunately, the poor guy passed. You can see he looked a little bit wary in this, and he did pass away about a year later.
Yeah, he started off pretty progressive too. I mean, they were saying like, he was one of the youngest owners in the league. He had great ambitions, hiring the first black head coach and first coach of Latino descent. Really wanted to have a really great team. When he decided to move to L.A., I mean, he said there were people that were split. Some people didn't want to go, but they were like, others were like, yo, that's prime real estate right there. We can go there and become superstars, and superstars they did become. I mean, they said the fans really embraced him right out the back. But Al had some very lofty ambitions, to say the least.
What other franchise has a slogan like that? Commitment to excellence, right? Commitment to excellence. You don't see that.
You only see that in English soccer and like world soccer teams, but it's not really a thing in, say, American sports as much.
Right.
Yeah, just win, baby. That is a classic quote that everybody quotes. Like Al Davis, just win, baby. Even in the hip hop song, All I Do Is Win, features with T-Pain, Ludacris, and several others, and DJ Khaled. And they even quote, I think Snoop Dogg's part, it says, just like Al Davis, all I do is win. Or just win, baby. Yeah, exactly. So that part of our normal lexicon is quoting Al Davis. I love to see some of these interviews also with the late, great John Madden, talking about the Raider way and, the demands of Al Davis. And Howie Long, you still see him every Sunday on the Fox pregame show. It's a funny dichotomy with him because he's a, easy guy from Villanova, and he's talking about how, when he was playing at Villanova here in Philly, and there's like priests out in the field and stuff like that. Then you go over to this culture, and it's totally culture shock.
Yeah. Now, Howie was my guy, man. I liked Howie. Howie and Marcus Allen, man. I like those guys.
Howie's likable. And he gave us Chris Long, the Eagles Super Bowl champion.
Yes.
Yeah, he had won the Super Bowl with New England and then with the Eagles. He had a couple sons in the NFL. But, I mean, the Raiders, winning your way, doing it your way, the silver and black goes hard, just like N.W.A. It's just, like I said, it's a perfect marriage. And the Raiders merchandise just skyrocketed due to the meteoric rise of gangster rap.
Colors to the hardcore silver and black.
The Kings didn't have much success in their purple and gold until they traded for Wayne Gretzky in 1988 and changed their colors then, which was a smart move. They have Bruce McNall talking, the former owner of the Kings, asking Al Davis if he could wear silver and black, and Al Davis didn't like it.
No, he didn't like it at all.
I didn't know that. But that definitely made a renaissance out of the Kings. They started to have celebrities in the stands watching Kings games, and Gretzky's my favorite player, and so I had a jersey too. So still have one from then.
Yeah, then other teams besides L.A., like Chicago White Sox, started wearing the all black, and I thought that was so sharp. I remember buying a Chicago White Sox hat just because I loved the logo and the black hat. And they showed, I think they showed the Colorado Rockies as well. So you see a lot more teams adopting the black. I remember when the Atlanta Falcons went to all black, like in the late 80s / early 90s, when they had Deion Sanders and Andre Rison. I was like, oh, that is sharp right there. Like the all black is, and you see a lot more alternate uniforms these days.
Yeah, there's a lot of black for black's sake.
Yeah.
The Brooklyn Nets went all black for, one of their uniforms.
When they moved to Brooklyn.
Yeah. Yep. I remember I had the Raiders hat, I had a Kings hat, I had a Sox hat.
You were the sixth member.
Yeah, you couldn't tell me, man. Couldn't tell me I wasn't.
So I know I've told you guys this in the past, but I had somewhat of a family connection with the Beckerman family, right? So they showed David Beckerman, who was the founder of Starter, and Starter obviously is huge for all the apparel. That was the in clothing for any sports fan. They showed David Beckerman. He's the founder. He literally lived across the street from where my mother grew up. And so I'm at my grandparents' house in New Haven, Connecticut, like across the street. Funny story is that his son, Brad, took over the company years later. Brad ended up marrying Paula Abdul, and it was a short-lived marriage, but my grandfather was invited to the wedding. And I thought that was so funny. He's telling me, I got invited to Paula Abdul's wedding. And I was like, did you go? I was like, nah, he didn't want to go. Cause I think he had to fly out somewhere. I don't know if it was California or Florida, but no, my grandfather was older and he just thought it was a funny thing. I wish he had kept that invitation though.
That's hilarious.
Kind of cool.
Yeah, man.
But
that's wild.
Man, I had so many starter satin jackets over the years. I was like the envy of a lot of friends because I was in there in the 80s, like mid to late 80s before they became super commercial and everywhere. And they actually were called First String first. I don't know if people knew that. It was called First String and then it became Starter. And there was like these warehouses that they would have and we would go and they just have piles and piles of clothes and almost like prototype jackets. And I was just like, even teams I didn't like, I just liked the way that looked. My brother had like a bright green, like Celtics jacket with the clover on it. I had all different types. I would get like UNLV and just all types of things that were popular at the time. It was cool.
Man, that's sick right there, man.
It was cool.
I'd have went nuts. I'd have went nuts in there, man.
I did go nuts. And I was always kind of like, my dad was like, all right, he was throwing money, but it was discounted prices. And I think they gave us a deal on top of that because we knew the family. I mean, it was nuts. And I would get some for some friends. Some friends of mine, my good friend Chris, I remember I got him a Flyers jacket for like super cheap. I would bring back. I had a 76ers blue satin with the big 76 logo. Yeah. My favorite of all time, I have a pullover Houston Oilers with the baby blue pullover parka.
That's the classic right there, right? Man.
The joke is
popping.
Yeah. The joke was that everybody had the Charlotte Hornets one, but I never had that one.
Yep. After the Raiders, that was the one that everybody was wearing around here. Charlotte Hornets. Yep. Yeah. It was like trends. It was like there was a trend when everybody was wearing the Raiders. There was a trend when everybody was wearing Charlotte Hornets. There was another trend when everybody was wearing UNLV. It's like there was like trends, like clear trends. It was like, oh my God. Everywhere you look, it's the same color in a row.
Yeah. Those are some good times. Yeah.
For me, this showed that the strongest or the greatest link between hip hop and sports was this Raiders look. I couldn't think of another thing that was much more prominent than this. Like the only thing I can think of was like Yankee hats. It was not the same level. People aren't walking around trying to identify with a whole genre rap.
Yeah,
with
definitely.
Just a hat, right? No, it did not to this level.
Nah, because I mean,
can't think of another one.
Yeah, the Yankees had, you got just like regular tourists walking around with those on. Yeah. This was completely different.
This is a different statement, and it's not like that anymore.
Yeah.
I struggle to think, listener, if you have something stronger than this, please let us know. That time came and went, and I don't think we'll ever get that back.
Now, you would see groups wear a lot of sports gear all the time. Our guys, Tribe Called Quest, right? You'll see them with like an Atlanta Braves hat or the Seton Hall jersey in some of the videos. But this is nothing consistent like this, but like that consistent marriage of this genre with the Raiders, inseparable, right?
It's like their work uniform.
Yeah. They said they would do all black, and it's like we couldn't do purple and gold because if they wanted, like that's not them. They're not all flowery and colorful like that. They wanted to make a statement, so they were wearing all black before that, and then when they donned that Raiders cap to match, that was literally finishing touch.
That's where the curve just goes straight up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it didn't help that like the Raiders at the time, where it was like one of the winningest teams in football too. I was like, wow, the 60s, 70s,
well, that's
80s,
the thing.
90s. I was like, wow, they were really on a roll too.
That's the thing. Like if they were crappy, like we wouldn't have this happening. Right. But success helps.
Absolutely, yeah.
With the Raiders apparel, you saw that video clip in the documentary of the teachers or the superintendent or somebody saying it is considered gang apparel. I was like, can you imagine wearing just a sports team and like you're not allowed to wear it to school because it's symbolized gangs and potential violence?
Can't remember which player it was, but he was saying that his daughter, they told his daughter that she couldn't wear anything to the school. And I'm like, wow, you want to wear the gear that your father, your father's team, and they're telling you that you can't wear it because it's gang affiliated.
Yeah.
That's bonkers.
Especially now, schools have a lot of like school spirit days or team spirit days. in the playoffs or something, and you couldn't wear your team's gear. That would seem kind of strange these
Right.
days.
Yeah. But then there was some history in here. They showed clips of the Rodney King incident, and the city was burning, and then Ice Cube was like, that kind of marked the end for the Raiders in L.A. That was in 92. They had been bad actually for a while. So that's exactly what you guys were saying. Like, if you're good, everything's great, everyone's weird. But if the team starts suffering, and then they started in the late 80s and early 90s, they went through a really rough patch, and they were winning like 5 games, 6 games. And you didn't want to really be associated with a losing team. It was the Mike Shanahan of all people. So the Mike Shanahan Raiders, like, he was really more structured and doing things his own way. I mean, he did find success with the Broncos, but like that little spurt right there. Now his son, Kyle Shanahan, is your coach over at the Niners, and that whole legacy. But interesting enough, that was kind of like, all right, that's the beginning of the end. Literally, LA was burning. Interestingly enough, there was a deal in place to move the team to Hollywood Park, but the league wanted 2 teams there, I think. Al Davis didn't want that. He was threatening to move them to a small town called Irwindale. All they had was a rock quarry. Yeah, it's like an hour away or something. Yeah, I mean, the parallel, as we said, Al Davis, he did things his own way. He was always battling with the commissioner, Pete Rozelle, for a big chunk of his career. And just like N.W.A. was battling with authority. Like, they're battling with the police. They're battling with, again, authority figures. So there's so many parallels. I thought that the outro was funny too. Did you see when they were rapping?
Oh, man.
Howie Long's rap.
Oh, man. Long string of cheesy rap videos from football teams.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember you sharing me the one with the Rams the one time. That was really bad.
Oh,
the Rams
the 80s was the bad time for
Super Bowl shuffle.
To have Super Bowl shuffles.
Shuffle. Yeah.
Many teams tried this and failed.
Like, they definitely didn't age well.
No, stick to sports.
Yep.
I'm sure they must have shown that clip on the Fox pregame show at some point just to tease Howie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm sure Michael Strahan and Terry Bradshaw and JB kind of tease him on that. But
yeah, it was crazy. Once the Raiders stock started tanking out with them having losing seasons, I remember I was quoting someone when he first left N.W.A. and he went solo. He had the lyrics on his second album. He said, "I stopped giving juice to the Raiders because Al Davis never paid us."
Yes.
I was like, "Oh, ouch."
Yeah.
Call him out by name.
Yo, ouch. Yeah, man.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention John Facenda, right? That was his voice when the NFL films, like in the beginning, when he has that just unforgettable voice. If you ever watch those NFL films, they showed a couple of clips from him early on.
They used the Autumn Wind, which is like his most famous voiceover about the Raiders being an autumn wind.
Good call.
It's really great.
It is.
It's probably the best of his work.
Man, inject those NFL films into my veins. Those are just remarkable with the music and John Facenda's voice. Legendary. So ironically, I don't know how many our audience is big sports fans, but just the history of the moves, right? The Raiders moved from, in 82 is when they moved from Oakland to L.A. In 95, they moved back to Oakland. Now, they didn't mention this due to the timing. This was in 2010, but they would now they're in Las Vegas as of 2020. So there's no more connection to even California with the Raiders. Although, as Ice Cube said in this film, like, the Raiders logo and symbol it's going to always be connected with Los Angeles, even though they were only there for
12 years.
12 years, right?
It's 12, yeah.
Yeah, but that in the whole history of the Raiders franchise, that's not a ton, but they will always be associated with LA, and I think it's because of that tie with gangster rap.
It's because of the tie with gangster.
Yeah, Compton and South Central, definitely. You had other hip hop groups wearing the Raiders, so many.
From 82 to infinity.
I wonder how someone like Too Short feels about it, because he's an Oakland guy, so he lost his team, and then he got him back, but now he lost him again. Or Hammer too. Hammer was flirting with the Falcons for a while when he did the Too Legit to Quit. Like, he was hanging out with Dion and stuff, but he's an Oakland guy.
But a lot of guys wore Falcon stuff, especially when they were wearing black. So
yeah, that was the hot team.
That tracks, but yeah,
that must be tough. Now, Vegas is getting the Oakland A's too, so Vegas keeps usurping the Oakland franchises. They just can't support the team. The irony for NFL is that L.A. being one of the biggest market, they went several years without a team because the Rams had moved out.
Yeah.
Like back in the 80s, it was L.A. Rams, right? When that's when Eric Dickerson broke the rushing record. And then they moved to St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was around 95 timeframe. Now they're back as of several years ago. But now there's 2 franchises. Now the Chargers. So they went from having 0 NFL franchises, and now they're back to having 2, sharing SoFi Stadium. Let's rate it. So, Boogie, for the 30 for 30 straight out of LA, would you bring this funky flick back or leave it in the vault?
Bring this funky flick back. Highly entertaining. Very reminiscent. It took me back because I remember those times, and it was cool to see it again. And get some little tidbits and some behind the scenes stuff that I didn't know about.
Definitely. Dino Wright, for straight out of LA, would you bring this funky flick back or leave it in the vault?
I'll bring this funky flick back. I should mention at least there's a set of animations in here by an filmmaker named James Blagden, who also did a really great video about Doc Ellis, who threw a no-hitter on LSD. So we can link that in the show notes. But I was really happy to see that in here because his work is really great.
That's nice. Funny. I visited Pittsburgh this past summer, and there was like a Pittsburgh Pirate team shop. There was a T-shirt of Doc Ellis, and it just had all like psychedelic stuff, like tie-dye, and he was yeah, that's an amazing story. Insane, but awesome. I would also bring this funky flick back. I'm a huge sports fan, and I love to see the tie-in between hip-hop and sports.
Thanks for tuning in to the Hip Hop Movie Club show. I'm Dino Wright, filmmaker, designer, longtime hip hop fan, and my favorite hockey player of all time, Wayne Gretzky, was traded to the Los Angeles Kings in 1988.
Great one.
Yeah, it's a great one. I'm JB, 80s and 90s nostalgia junkie, longtime hip hop fan. I used to own a reversible mesh Tim Brown, of course, starter jersey. I used to wear when I played pickup football games.
Very nice, very nice.
One of the great Raiders, yes.
Yeah, man. And I'm Boogie, a DJ, longtime hip-hop fan. And the Raiders, I mentioned before, were actually my backup team behind my San Francisco 49ers. And it was good to see Howie Long, Marcus Allen in this film. And also some notables was Bo Jackson and Jerry Rice. After he left the Niners, they all played for the Raiders.
And remember, don't hate on the Golden State.
Hey.
You know what I love when Chris Berman does his fastest 3 minutes and the way he says, he's like, the Raiders. Mm-hmm. That's my favorite when he says that. Me and my son get a kick out of that.